What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking some college basketball betting ahead of Tuesday, January the 10th. It's a massive Tuesday slate, but we're going to dive into everything you need to know from a betting perspective. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We are also live on podcasts. If you're listening over there, please leave a rating, review, subscribe over there. It helps a ton. And we're brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Phenomenal offer for you guys that you need to take advantage of right now because this is a limited time offer. It is going away and it's going to go away soon. But here's what it is. You're going to head over to DraftKings Sportsbook or just click the link in the video description below. You can do that as well. Deposit at least $5 into your DraftKings Sportsbook account. Then make a $5 wager on any game. Doesn't even have to win. You are going to turn that $5 into $200 automatically in free bets. It is literally $200 free dollars, a can't miss opportunity. And again, I don't know how long this is going to be here. It's not going to be around long. Right now, our promo says February 12th. I would take advantage of this right now. Just get the free bets. You can even use some of them from offers in this video, but click the link in the video description below to take advantage. All right, we're going to kick things off in the college basketball slate with the Big 12 matchup. It is Kansas State taking on Oklahoma State. Right now, you can find Kansas State -4.5. That's a number I like a lot. And there's kind of a big injury situation to monitor in this game, which is Oklahoma State's Moussa Cisse. He's their big man. Missed their last game due to an ankle injury. Latest reports coming out of OK State, the swelling has gone down, but he remains a game-time decision. Went ahead of their most recent game over the weekend. He did not warm up. He was dressed, but he essentially was standing under the basket the entire time. And that's key, I think. A lot of times you'll see players go through warm-ups. They don't take full contact, and then they sit out. We didn't even see him do that. So I'm viewing Cisse as more of a doubtful than questionable play in this game. But you never know. You need to watch his status. That is the biggest injury news in the whole game. Kansas State has been without David and Gesson for a while, but that should not be as impactful. And when you dive into it, you look at the stylistics here. Cisse is such a big loss for this team, especially against Kansas State, because of the way this OK State team is comprised. They're a defensive team. They're 159th in offensive efficiency, but they are 18th in defensive efficiency. So this is something where we definitely have seen this team play in some slow, methodical games, and that's actually a lot of what we've seen recently for this team. And that's a problem against Kansas State because you have a team with size and a team that can beat you in multiple ways, especially when you don't have Cisse on the floor. You look at this Kansas State team, especially with their big men. Naquan Tomlin, 6'10". Abayomi Ayola is 6'9". Their stud freshman who's playing more and more minutes. Excuse me if I mispronounced that name. And Ismail Massoud is 6'8". These are all players that they can rotate on and off the floor. Not to mention Key Johnson, 6'5", and he's a very versatile piece on the offense. That's hard for any team to defend, especially when you're missing one of your better defenders and a veteran in Moussa Cisse. From there, I think we're also selling Oklahoma State pretty high. You look at their schedule, I mean, they only have 2 top 100 KenPom wins on the year, Sam Houston State and West Virginia. Now, they've played in some close losses too, so I don't want to dock this team too far. But you look at Kansas State, they really only have one blip on the radar. It's that one weird loss to Butler where they shot 20% from 3. Otherwise, their level of competition is elite. So looking at this game, I think Kansas State's going to take money throughout the day. I think you have the better roster overall, and you're dealing with the injury situation to Moussa Cisse. So give me Kansas State -4.5. Second game we'll talk about, we'll head to the Big Ten, and this is a weird one. Illinois takes on Nebraska. Right now I'm seeing Illinois -3. This is one I want to hop on right now. I think there's a chance it also moves. I think you are buying Illinois at a time where their program's been in a little bit of turmoil, or at least they've been in the news following the departure of Sky Clark. You now have Underwood losing, a couple pretty key recruits from this team year over year, and Sky Clark is just the latest. So he's received some negative press. But then you have a Nebraska team who's actually kind of overachieved, which is saying a lot considering where this team has been in the context of the Big Ten over the last 3 years. But Illinois, they have almost every single stylistic advantage in this spot. Better on offense. They're 93rd in offensive efficiency. Nebraska is 228th. On defense, Illinois is 13th. Nebraska is 84th. Illinois has great size, which is going to actually match up well against Nebraska and how they win. Rebounding advantage, Illinois is 115th. Nebraska is 55th. And then again, on the interior, Illinois 6th in near proximity defense. Nebraska, very good team on the interior. They're 84th in 2-point percentage. And Illinois goes deep at this position. You have Coleman Hawkins, of course. He's the stud that leads this group. But Dane Danger, more of a stiff big man who's going to play somewhere between 24 and 27 minutes. But a good interior defender if he doesn't foul, which he hasn't done recently, which is solid here. So this team is kind of comprised, I think, to defend what Derek Walker has done for Nebraska on the interior, Juwan Gary recently. And I think you're buying both teams at different positions right now. So again, you look at the recent competition. Illinois has been one of the streakiest teams in the country. I'm not going to run you through their whole schedule, but you've seen really key wins and then losses to teams that they certainly should have beat. Meanwhile, Nebraska kind of just has 2 good wins on the year, Creighton and Iowa. And if you look at their 2 games, those were basically the 2 worst shooting percentages for both teams on the season. Creighton shot 25% from 3, 31% from the floor. Iowa shot 26% from the floor. So, I mean, you're going to get games like that in college basketball. Anytime a team is shooting 26%, you're probably going to lose that game. So a couple wins for Nebraska, I think, are a little fluky here. Meanwhile, the defensive metrics for Nebraska do not suggest like they should be holding Creighton or Iowa to those poor shooting percentages. So we're going to buy low in Illinois, sell high in Nebraska in this spot. And the last one is more of a speculative play. I think this might move against us, so I'm waiting later in the day. And it's one I'm not quite as confident in as the 2 previous ones. We're going to talk about Virginia taking on North Carolina. Right now, the spread is 4.5 in favor of Virginia. I think Virginia might take money, and there's going to be a buying point for North Carolina here. For me, that would be around 5.5. And there's a couple of reasons why. First off, these 2 teams are largely the same from last year's performances, and North Carolina just bodied Virginia the 2 times they played, especially Armando Bacot had his way with this team. So one, the teams aren't drastically different, but there's a couple metrics I think that are drastically different I want to dive into. This year, Virginia is shooting from 3. They rank 26th in the country. This is an awesome team from 3-point this year. And again, their player personnel is not drastically different than last year's team that ranked 247th in 3-point percentage. So I hope that makes sense. You've seen a drastic uptick in 3-point shooting percentage from Virginia. Now, my question is this a talent thing, or is this just positive variance? And I think it could be variance. The one worry here is that you have a North Carolina defense that does not defend the perimeter well at all. They actually rank 238th in 3-point defense. So, even if this is positive variance and Virginia is shooting much better from 3 than they did a year ago, North Carolina doesn't really defend it well. So that's a concern. But on the other side, you have the exact opposite with North Carolina. This is a team that's had a lot of shooting concerns this year. They ranked 249th in 3-point percentage. Now, last year, this team was much better from 3. They were 60th in the country in 3-point percentage. I do think a lot of this comes down to the loss of Brady Manick, who was the lone player, at least who received strong minutes for the team that shot over 40% from 3. You replace him with Pete Nance, who's certainly not the same caliber player. But ultimately, if we could just get any sort of positive variance with North Carolina and any negative variance with Virginia, I think there's a lot of wiggle room in this line. And then we haven't even talked about Armando Bacot, who should have his way with the post presence for Virginia, which I'm not necessarily that fond of. They essentially rotate the 5. You have Caden Shedrick playing the most minutes. He's statistically their worst defender. When you look at defensive rating on the year, there's a little bit of noise there. But again, last year, Bacot had his way with them. I think he should have his way with them again this year. Oh, and last thing, Pete Nance has been injured for this team. We mentioned him before. He only played 2 minutes in their second most recent game with a back injury, and then he didn't play in the most recent contest. He's been practicing. He did individual drills, and then they ramped him up to a full practice. I think we probably see Pete Nance here, and it's a back injury, back spasms, if I'm not mistaken. So this is just a maintenance issue. It's not something, as long as he's taken the proper time to revamp back up, that there should be a huge injury risk in game. So I think we do see Pete Nance tonight, giving another feather in the cap to North Carolina. Again, one I'm going to wait on, but one we'll take nonetheless. That'll do it for us with the Odd Shopper channel. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring the video. Again, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe on the way out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it, especially this early in the season, still trying to figure out what a lot of these teams are actually made of with the freshmen and the young players and whatnot. But we'll be back tomorrow again, talking more college basketball bets. So until then, good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.